I represent Ministry of Home Affairs. There's a special scheme of cybercrime prevention called as Indian Cybercrime Coordination Center. So at the outset, I would just like to request you to kindly raise your hands as to who has heard about this scheme, I4C. Anyone? Okay, except for the person who is interacting with me quite often, Hardik. So this brings in more authenticity for my presence to be here. So I4C primarily is a body which tries to caution the various stakeholders in the financial sector to pause and then to proceed. This is what we are here for. We are a part of Ministry of Home Affairs, and we are into the prevention of cybercrime holistically. Next. Sorry. Yeah. So we have 7 verticals, and this, as I mentioned, I4C basically is a specialized scheme for the prevention of cybercrime across the country. So we have 7 verticals. The foremost is in relation to the threats, the threat analytical unit. So any kind of threat which we receive, which we conceive in the country, we pass it on and we share with multiple stakeholders across the country on the real-time basis. We also have the prominent vertical called as National Cybercrime Reporting Center, that is called Reporting Portal, NCRB. So I would like you to kindly remember this portal, cybercrime.gov.in. This is the only portal in the country which takes care of all the reporting of cybercrime by the citizens. So we propagate this portal is in case of any financial crime or any cybercrime which happens to a citizen. The citizen can log on this portal and register the complaint. We also have around 14,000 plus police stations connected with this on the portal. And any cybercrime complaint, after it is registered on the portal, it reaches to the concerned police station on the real-time basis, so that the police can take the cognizance on these complaints. We are also into the cybercrime coordination. So we coordinate with multiple stakeholders and various state police authorities for the prevention of cybercrime under the joint cybercrime investigation team. Another portal is regarding the forensic laboratory. We have a high-end state-of-art forensic lab called as NCFL at Dwarka, Delhi. So anyone who is around in Delhi, we welcome all the delegates present here to see this lab. It's a state-of-art lab with multiple kinds of forensic tools which are available, and these tools we provide to all the police authorities for proper investigation. We also have a training center called as NCTC, wherein we train all the police authorities across the country. More than 25,000 police personnel have been registered, and around 8,000 plus certifications have been done through the online training modules which are available on the portal. We also have an ecosystem management where we try to interact with multiple stakeholders, one of them being NPCI, majority of the banks, all the UPI service providers, etc., to have an ecosystem for prevention of cybercrime. And we also are into the R&D work in relation to development of the indigenous tools for the cybercrime prevention. So as I mentioned, we are in touch with multiple stakeholders, and this is a regular activity. We have a small team of around 40 people. Most of them are either the government servants or the private experts. I have joined with one of my colleagues, Jitendra ji, who is an ACP with Delhi Police, and one of my technical colleague, Rushi Mehta, who is with us right now. So we have a team of around 40 persons. We try to interact with multiple stakeholders for the prevention of cybercrime. UPI, e-wallet service companies, the banks, the fintech companies, the e-commerce companies are integrated with the system. We are propagating this number very aggressively. Whenever there is a financial fraud which happens through the online system, or maybe if we click a wrong SMS and then the money is siphoned off, we always tell the citizens that you report to this helpline number 1930. This 1930 helpline number is active in all the states and union territories. In some of the states, it operates from 9 to 6 p.m. in the evening, and in some other states, it operating on 24/7 basis. So since all the various stakeholders are integrated with the system, we are trying to operate this number on 24/7 basis across the country. And we always tell the citizens that in case of any financial fraud, don't go to the bank, don't go to the UPI service providers, come to us. Since we have this number with us, what happens is that on the real-time basis, once the complaint comes to the call center, normally operated by the police functionaries, the basic details are captured as to how the fraud took place, whether you received some kind of SMS or some kind of clicking message, etc. And with the basic details, a token is generated, and this token passes on to the concerned bank from where the money has flown. So if the money moves from one bank to another bank to third bank to fourth bank to UPI, and finally it's siphoned off through, let's say, an ATM, we try to keep the flow of the money so that we can stop the money. In case we receive the complaints in, let's say, 5 to 10 minutes of the money being siphoned off, we are able to save the money also. So this has been a success. We started off with this project last year, somewhere in July, post second wave of COVID. And then we kept on integrating multiple states in this in the phased manner, and now all these states are integrated. So we are trying to increase the canvas. We are trying to increase all the service providers on this platform, so that we try to stop the flow of money which is siphoned off by the fraudsters. And we do such kind of publicity at various social media platforms. We are available at all the social media platforms through such graphics and videos, which we keep on uploading on day-to-day basis. So just a small statistics, cybercrime, since we analyze the complaints at the national level, we have as of now around 13.5 lakh complaints which have been registered since August 2019. So that's a huge number, and the complaints are increasing day by day. Last year, we took a random date of 31st of January 2021. The number of complaints we registered were around 450 per day across the country. So this jumped to around 2000 in this year's January 2022. And by this trend, we feel that number of complaints will increase phenomenal to around 4,000 per day, which is a huge number for the police functionary to man it and to investigate. So what we feel at the punchline is that the prevention is the way ahead. And that's why we are here to caution that we move fast in terms of the transactions, but we should have some kind of a caution so that we think twice before we launch any service in the public sector. And nowadays, we are also aware that the average screen time is increased phenomenally, especially during the COVID waves. So lots of people, especially children, senior citizens also, they are part of now the internet or the global space. And perhaps sometimes we feel that earlier days, whenever we used to have some kind of crime, let's say a dacoity or similar crime, the money used to be siphoned off from the so-called मालदार people, बड़े-बड़े लोगों से पैसा लेके जाते थे. आज जब साइबर क्राइम हो रहा है तो हम लोग ये देख रहे हैं कि गरीब इंसान को पैसा लूट रहा है. So the paradigm shift has taken place. Instead of the top big, let's say, persons, we are having the money siphoned off in the cybercrime arena from the lower strata people also. So that pains us a bit more. So when we analyze these kind of complaints, we also see that majority of the complaints of the cybercrime which we receive on the portal, they pertain to the financial frauds. The figure is around 55%, and that's a huge number. So even if we receive around 4,000 complaints per day, the number of crimes which happens on the financial sector side for cyber financial fraud is around 2,000 per day. And this is just the reported ones. And we also feel that very strongly that majority of the cyber crimes are also unreported. So perhaps the ratio can be 1:10. So if we are receiving, say, around 1 complaint, 10 perhaps are not been reported. And even if, let's say, we receive 1 lakh complaints per day, in a period of time, so 10 lakh complaints were not reported. Out of these 1 lakh complaints, on an average, the conviction rate is around 2 to 3%. So around 2 to 3,000 people are getting convicted. Out of the conviction, some people go to jail, which is also less. So if you see the graph, it boils down to somewhere around 10 lakh complaints perhaps are should have been reported, and the conviction is very, very, very less. So all the more reason to be a bit cautious when we launch our services in the open arena in the financial sector. As I mentioned that nowadays we are receiving around 3,000 complaints per day, and 55% of the complaints which we receive on the portal, they belong to the financial frauds. We are also monitoring some of the hotspots of the cybercrime. We are aware of the places like Jamtara, Mewat, Girit, Bharatpur, etc. So there is a special focus of the government to monitor such places, since the frauds emanate from these places. The calls, fraud calls, or the SMS are being sent from these places. This is a common phenomena. We keep on seeing it on day-to-day basis. Today also there was a news article which says that around 300 Indian citizens, they were taken to Myanmar for the cybercrime. This is the front page news of the Times of India, a Delhi edition. I was reading it while I was in the flight. And such kind of news we keep on hearing. On the left-hand side, we see that the hotel IP was hacked and a decent amount of money was stolen from the government portal. We have also seen cyber attacks on NHAI. So be it a private sector or be it the government sector, the number of cyber attacks are increasing day by day. This is what Certain says. And some of the cooperative banks, they don't have the decent amount of cyber security. The cyber criminals try to attack and take the money away from these places. So what we do in I4C is that we have a gamut of various government entities. So we interact with all the various entities across the country as well as abroad in relation to the prevention of cybercrime. Be it the telecom sector, we are in aggressive constant interaction with telecom sector in relation to prevention of bogus SIM cards, in relation to of misuse of the prevention of the misuse of the headers, footers of the SMSs. We are in touch with banks, RBI. In the evening, we are having a detailed meeting today with RBI officers to discuss about the cybercrime issues in relation to the banking sector. We are in constant touch, and we are also thankful to NPCI, especially CEO Sab and Hardik ji, for inviting us in this conference. We are in constant touch with NPCI as to how we can make the UPI much more safe. We are in touch with the Ministry of Corporate Affairs in relation to the shell companies which are operating in the country, especially where the money is being siphoned off across the borders. We are in touch with MIT and CCC to see the metadata, the cloud service providers, the social media service providers, and also some of the stakeholders in relation to the academia. We are also requesting UGC to have a course curriculum of 15 days for all the students across all the streams in the graduation side, so that any doctor or a teacher or an arts graduate or any person whosoever is getting graduated should be aware of the basic hygiene of cybersecurity. We are also in touch with NCERT and CBSE. We hope to see the light of the day in the next year by inculcating some of the cyber hygiene from 6th standard onwards in all the schools. And the course curriculum are being made according to that. We are also in touch with various other academies for the training of the police authorities, judicial officers, public prosecutors. We are also in touch with the in relation to the malwares which are coming. There's a repository which has been made, so we keep on monitoring such kind of malwares which come to us. We are also trying to have such kind of repository for ransomwares also, which is a major threat for the private sector. A ransomware attack, we all will admit in this closed room at least that ransomware attacks have increased quite a lot, and all the private sectors also have to be nearly geared up. There was an incident on one day at around 8 a.m. in the morning when we received a call from one of these police authorities that there is an attack through bot at 20 odd private sector companies. So such kind of attacks, they keep on increasing on the weekends also, and also after the office hours. So we are seeing a trend, a change in the shift of the trend in relation to the non-working hours. So that the police authorities are not geared up at that time, and even the banks are also not geared up. So with this background, we are requesting all the banks and UPS service providers to make their services available 24/7 basis for all the police authorities and other multiple central government agencies. We are in touch with all the cyber security agencies, with MEA, with Certain and IC, etc. So this is the whole gamut of exercise which keep on doing just to make our place a cyber safe. As I mentioned that there is a laboratory, high-end state-of-the-art laboratory for the forensic tools available in Delhi. And we provide all kinds of forensic services also through cloud to the state police authorities, so that they can have an investigation at their level by through a dongle, and then they can run the tool available at their respective places. So the tools which help for investigation, it relate to crypto, We have certain tools for crypto. We have tools for video forensic, clouds, network, etc. Another landmark of I4C is the reporting portal, which I mentioned. So as I stated that these kind of complaints we try to analyze at the central level, and this gives us the trend as to where the cybercrime is proceeding and what kind of arena is there in the cybercrime, so that we can take all the precautionary measures in relation to this. So this portal is available at the all India level, and we are also coming up with the mobile app soon. We are trying to launch the mobile app in a month or so. The helpline number, as I mentioned, our helpline number is 1930, and most of the major stakeholders are a part of this now. As all the government banks, private sector banks, the payment aggregators, e-commerce companies, fintech, etc. And till date, we have been able to save around 135 crore rupees of money, which was siphoned off by the criminals. We just tried to stop the flow of money at the mid, and even at certain places where a purchase was done through the e-commerce companies, we tried to hold the transaction, and the purchase was also stopped at some point of time. So we are trying to replicate and publicize this number 1930 across the country. I would solicit your personal intervention so that at least in your organizations this number can be propagated, 1930. We are also, as I mentioned, into the massive cybercrime awareness. We have a social media handle called as @cyberdost, and we are available at all the social media platforms. So there are large number of videos, 100 plus videos available at various social media platforms. So maybe you can replicate those videos. They relate to the fintech fraud, they relate to banking fraud, they relate to OTP, do not share OTP, they relate to do not share KYC, they relate to don't scan QR code for receiving the money. So all kinds of good short videos are available with us on various social media platforms, and these have been made by the specialized agency called as MyGov, which is doing the publicity for the government of India. So good videos and good graphics are available. I would request all of you, in case you would like to have the bouquet of all such videos and graphics, please let us know. We'll be more than happy to share the open files also, so that you can modify a bit as per your banking sector or the fintech sector. You can add your logos, etc., and you can publicize these videos also. The whole aim is to propagate the prevention of cybercrime through such videos and graphics. So I'll just come to the cybercrime trends at this stage. I think every one of us must have received some kind of SMS which says that your electricity will be disconnected tomorrow because of non-payment of bill. Anyone who has not received such kind of SMS, or more or less have received? So what we see and analyze that the fraudsters, they follow the trend. So let's say, for example, we are having a meeting in this room for prevent cybercrime. Parallelly, there must be some kind of meeting going on in Mewat and Chamtara area also. So they try to be ahead of us, and that keeps us on our toes to be ahead of them, at least, if possible. So this electricity fraud was happening. We tried to control it. They switched over to some other fraud, and the modus operandi, they keeps on changing. They are also launching lots of phishing websites. We keep on taking them down, and these phishing websites are being launched from outside India. Some of the bulk SMSs are also coming from outside India. So we try to nab these things, but as I mentioned that it takes time, a long time for us to nab the criminal from these places, and hence we feel, again I am reiterating, that there needs to be more caution and prevention rather than we nab the criminals later on. So we saw the utility bills utilizing the credit cards. Then we have also seen some of the crimes relating to ghost loans. I have been given a loan where I did not apply. So this was seen in some of the banks. I'll not mention the names of the banks here. Then we are also seeing a majority of cyber crimes relating to the virtual accounts of merchants. A virtual account is opened in the payment aggregator, on the payment aggregator platform, and this is nothing but the virtual account of perhaps a mule virtual account, or perhaps of a fraudster. So if the payment aggregator shuts the account, the virtual account of the same merchant is open in the second payment aggregator or the second fintech company. So this kind of fraud is happening quite a lot, and we are actually worried on this, and we have been requesting the fintech companies and the payment aggregators to keep a tab on this. Then after the penny drop, that is 1 rupee transaction, so as to verify the authenticity of the transaction and the genuineness of the person, we are seeing that lots of APIs are being used illegally for the business. And then we were also saw that some of the APIs which were allowed by some of the government entities were willy-nilly, intentionally or unintentionally being misused by the cyber fraudsters. By let's say this was primarily seen in the cases of the part-time jobs which flourished during the COVID wave, and the instant loan app. So some of the APIs were misused of the merchants by the fraudsters. And we are also seeing that lots of mule accounts are also there in the private banks and government banks also. So there's a cause of worry for us, and we request all the banks and the entities present, financial entities present here, that they need to build up some kind of an AI based tool or some kind of a technical tool to see the trend of such mule accounts and as to how we can nab these mule accounts. So there is a specific trend which happens in the mule accounts. A docile account, I have an account, bank account, I was operating it 4-5 years back, it's defunct, it's docile. Suddenly there's a huge transaction which starts in this bank account. And the frequency, the velocity is very high. So this bank account receives a lot of money, and the money is also debited immediately. So at the end of the day, you have a bare minimum amount which is there in such bank accounts, in such mule accounts. So there's a trend which we can analyze through the various technical tools, and I think the role of fintech companies is very important in this sector to help and guide the banks as to how such mule accounts can be stopped. This is a common phenomena. We are see on day-to-day basis such kind of fraud SMS which keeps on coming, and the fraud pre-activated SIM cards are also being misused by the fraudsters. So all kinds of bogus SMS we keeps on receiving on day-to-day basis by these fraudsters. The fraudsters, they either try to send the messages individually, or they try to send the messages through the SIM boxes. So with the help of a SIM box, maybe a SIM box of having 502 channels, I can just with a click of the button can send the SMS to 512 persons, and the IMA also changes very frequently. So second time if I use the SIM box, the IMA gets changed. So it's very difficult to nab the SIM box also, to nab the criminal also. So the various police authorities have also seized a large number of pre-activated SIM cards. So this is also a place where the fintech can play an important role in terms of the technology to guide and handhold these TSPs, telecom service providers. And there is also an occurrence of the SIM box being misused for the international calling also. We have also seen the misuse of the genuine technology by the fraudsters. The primary one was in relation to the important bank of the country, State Bank of India, by hosting their phishing website on the temporary hosting platforms. So there are certain platforms, we all are aware, which try to host the website for 30 minutes or 1 hour or 3 hours or 1 day or 2 days, and then this hosting website goes off. We are also seeing the crimes in relation to the remote access apps which are available. These apps are actually the good ones to help the citizen in relation to any kind of issues in their laptops or desktops. But these apps like AnyDesk or TeamViewer, they are being installed in on the citizen's mobile to take the details of the OTP or the PIN directly, and then the money is siphoned off. OTP forwarders are also being downloaded through the mobile malwares. And payment aggregators are also being misused for money laundering, etc. So this is just a thought from our side. This is just a thought for discussion and suggestion. I solicit your intervention here at multiple places. One is, I would request the dignitaries present here to innovate with the appropriate cyber security and cyber fraud management system, management mechanism in your entities also, as well as to handhold other entities in this regard. One of the options which I mentioned in relation to point number 1 is basically the mule accounts. So we are yet to get a confirmed technology which helps us identifying the mule accounts. So this can be an initiative from your side, so that we are able to get some solutions at various places in relation to the banking sector. Second point, I would request the August gathering present here to kindly educate in the country in relation to the financial literacy. All of us know a bit more than the people who are not very tech savvy. They can easily procure this smart card, or they can easily open the bank account, but they don't know the checks and balances. And unfortunately, we also don't tell them the checks and balances available for them. And this also happens in relation to the misuse of the social media platforms also. So any kind of photograph, my personal photographs, I upload without knowing the details of the privacy setting on the social media platforms, and then suddenly there is a fraud which happens to me, or some kind of cybercrime which happens to me. So I would request the companies present here to kindly carry out the publicity at their own level. We have been requesting banks and UPI service providers. Nowadays you are seeing some kind of advertisements coming through social media platforms also. So many banks, SBI, Punjab National Bank, HDFC, ICICI, they are carrying out major publicity campaign across the country. So the more we will be able to teach and propagate the cyber hygiene in the country, the more trust will be built on the citizens on various initiatives which you take from here. We also request that some kind of initiatives may also be taken by your companies present here in schools and colleges in your near vicinity. And many of the private sector companies have started this kind of publicity campaign for cyber hygiene in schools and colleges by interacting through state police authorities or through the Directorate of Education. API, we are trying to caution in point number 3 on the slide that API should be carefully handed over to the merchants. So we have seen some kind of misuse of the APIs, and some kind of money being siphoned off at the foreign country. We also request the dignitaries present here to develop some of the innovative solutions to counter such frauds. The international figure is around 0.8% of the GDP is the cyber financial fraud which happens. We don't have the study right now, but perhaps according to my personal experience, I feel that this figure may be more in India. So 0.8%, or if we just extrapolate a bit more, it's around 1%, which the international world says that is the percent of the GDP of the financial fraud which happens, which primarily means कि अगर मैं 100 रुपए दिन में कमाता हूँ, 1 रुपया मेरा चोरी हो जाता है, right? So just multiply with the GDP. So this is the volume of the crime which is happening. So we need to be a bit cautious, pause, and then you can upload some of the new initiatives which you are doing in your sector. Last on this slide is I would request all of you to kindly spread the publicity through CyberDose, and I will end my presentation with a small video of the cyber hygiene. So this is in relation to the KYC fraud. This is a very small video, but we just try to connect it with the local language to the people, so that people just understand that the banks do not ask for the KYC. Can you run it? So till this is played, thank you very much for the patient hearing. I'm very happy to see that now the chairs are more or less full. So now once you go back, you will remember the empty chairs also, and as those who are present here about I4C, and be in touch with us in case you feel any kind of issues or any kind of inputs you would require in relation to the financial frauds. We are based in Delhi. We are based in the MHA, Ministry of Home Affairs, and our office is at Connaught Place. So anytime, more than welcome, and we'll be more than happy to handhold and guide you in relation to the prevention of cybercrime. Thank you.
So yeah, we are doing the Q&A now. So I'm opening for the Q&A. So everybody, if you have questions, please go ahead. So Mike, please.
Yeah, Rushi and Jitendra ji, आप आ जाएं एक बार. Yeah, okay. Without mic is fine.
Okay, I'm a journalist working with BQ Prime. We have interacted with a lot of people who come and complain about cyber crime come to us. One of the first steps they do is that call up a bank customer care. And at that point in time, the bank customer care does not point them to 1930. Yeah. They point to go to the branch and do it. Why can't we create an awareness where the first call itself, you're pointed to 1930, that saves time and maybe the money for them as well.
Yeah, thank you. I think we are the common platform. We have requested the banks to propagate this number 1930 in all the branches. and on their websites, as well as even when the SMS of transaction comes to us. So normally we have certain numbers written at the end, 1800, etc. Right? So we have also requested banks, please write this number 1930 also. So that we are trying to push it to all the banks to make it as a mass movement so that this number is known to across the country. And in fact, since you are from the media side, I will request you also to maybe start the exercise of having some kind of scroller in your newspaper every day for cyber financial fraud. Dial 1930. Some kind of scroller at the last page, or maybe at the first page, at the top maybe, or at the bottom. So you can be of great help to us also.
This is a centralized one, right? So
Yeah,
you don't have to go to a police station to file a complaint or nothing of that sort.
No. So just because of, I mean, this is we are talking about the borderless place.
Yes.
It's a cyberspace. Yeah. So that's why we thought that citizens need not go to the police station. It's very difficult to identify a police station. So and just dial this 1930, where we are trying to integrate all the various financial entities in this.
And what is the process of, if you are able to succeed, if you succeed in stopping that money transfer?
Yeah.
If you, what is the process of getting the money back to the account?
Primarily, the money which is stolen is a stolen property. So, as per the banking regulation, section 45, if I am not mistaken, or Banking Regulation Act, and 102 CRPC, the money is recovered, it's given back to the citizen through a process of law, that is the court. So, a simple application is submitted by the IO in the court of law, and a very simple order is there that yes, this money has been stopped, and the amount is refunded to the citizen. There are instances of some of the banks and some of the financial intermediaries. They are also, in case of smaller amounts, they are returning the money directly to the citizens without the process of requirement of the court order.
You spoke about the fact that there's now you have all those vendors, international vendors sending SMSs and all, right? Yeah. We had a few years back, the TRA also started to do not call DND numbers,
yeah.
But it's not effective in many ways, right? Because if the messages are stopped, which are not required, it's a first stop of prevention, but it's not effective. What is being done?
We are seized of this matter, and as I admitted that there's a gray area. When you register, let's say to send an SMS, there are three things which are required. One is registration of a principal entity. Let's say a bank gets registered. HDFC Bank is registered as a principal entity. Second is you register a header, that BQL, something like that, which comes at the top. So that is a header. And third is you registered a template, what kind of message you are saying. So all these three things, if someone registers, then only one can send the SMS. The registration of these three entities are being done at different places. Let's say one is getting registered at Airtel, second is getting registered at Voda Idea, and third is registered at some other place. So we are trying to have a common system with the help of TRI, so that the registration process is smoothened out. And secondly, any transaction which is happening through Simbox or API base, we can try to stop the such SMS. We can't read the SMS right now because of the privacy issues. So we are tackling with that, and we are trying to come up with some solution. Yeah.
And you mentioned some places already. You have identified where maximum number of
Mewal, Jamtara. I think it's known to all.
Yeah. But what has been done to to curb that?
A bit of aggressive policing, number one. Number two, involvement of central agencies. Number three, we also feel that what is happening is that these people who are siphoning off the money, they are primarily youngsters. They belong to age of around 15-16 years to around 20 or 30 years. And they are mostly the school dropouts. So maybe some kind of inculcation of the schooling habit, less number of dropouts, more skill development centers. So we are trying, with the help of states and UTs, we are trying to have a comprehensive plan to upgrade the area so that people are weaned away from joining this class. Most of the places, if you go, I have personally visited a majority of the places, they are basically some kind of a village. It's very difficult to identify between who is a fraudster guy and who is a non-fraudster guy. They are simple village people actually, but being misused by a lot of criminal activities.
So telecom operators are not able to identify, because if so huge volume of SMS.
We are trying to. We have. You must have heard lots of news articles regarding pre-activated SIM cards have been blocked out. They've caught pre-activated SIM cards. Many of the cyber criminals have been caught. So it's basically rat and mouse. Rat and this cat story. So this happening, we are trying to stop at least the spread of these areas to other places also. Yeah,
Thank you.
We need cooperation of all of you, all these stakeholders, so that we work together as a team for prevention of crime.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Please.
Hello, hi. I'm Vishaka. I'm a practicing advocate. So I do tend to fintechs a lot. So what I wanted to ask you is that you brought out a lot of issues that were present and where there was a gap that need to be filled. I wanted to know if there are any security standards or if there's any language or information available about your presentation on the website that I can possibly share with my clients and inform them, because this is not exactly legal advice, but it would be more like a cautionary.
Yeah, we have, as I mentioned, we have @cyberdos as our handle.
Right.
So we are available at, you just type it right now. We are available at Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, Telegram, Twitter, public app, etc. So all the videos have been uploaded there.
Okay.
So you can just download those videos. In case you want videos to run in your companies also, you can let us know. We'll share the open files to you. You can have your, let's say, big bosses starting the video and then commencing at some other second in command, so that you can also modify the video part and you can run it at your places.
Okay, but there's no literature per se about this.
We have certain literature available at the National Cybercrime Reporting Portal in relation to the prevention of social media platforms, in relation to prevention of, let's say, matrimonial fraud or don't share OTP, etc. So all these kind of literature is also available. But people don't read literature nowadays in such a manner. It's always better to be in touch with the people through their
More
language only.
interactive.
Yeah, so make it more graphical, more interactive, more kind of sensitization, so that people they get connected with it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, sir. I used to handle payments for Khata Book earlier, and right now I've started my own fintech company. One of the things I've always wondered regarding, cybercrime and all is, why is there not a national repository of, let's say, fraudsters, their mobile numbers and their account numbers, right? It would just make our job so much easier, because if, let's say, we can just verify a mobile number using an API. Has this guy been flagged in some sort of blacklist by some other platform? And then we can also prevent that guy from using our own services, right? So just wanted to know if there is any initiative which is being taken in this direction.
Yeah, one is CyberSafe. CyberSafe. It's run again by MHA. So there is a negative list of which is called as a suspect repository of the mobile numbers. So let's say I type my mobile number as an individual. I type my, and the output which will come from that is this number is not in the suspect list. So this is available as of now, and we are also trying to do it at a common platform with all the TSPs. As of now, what is happening, as you are all aware, is that the TSP data is not centralized. Airtel telephone numbers and Voda Idea telephone numbers and Jio telephone numbers are disjoint. They are separate. So we are trying to make it in a common database, so that any kind of suspect repository we keep on doing it. So we are trying for the mobile numbers. We are trying for the links, the malicious links. We are in touch with RBI for the bank accounts also. So internally, RBI has a mandate and they do it for all the banks whenever they receive a complaint at their places. So we are requesting that whenever we receive a complaint at the portal, on the cybercrime reporting portal, what happens is that the fraudster is not aware of the bank account of the fraudster. If I am siphoned of rupees 10,000, I am aware of my bank account from where the money has been debited, but I don't know from where the money has actually gone. So that is 6th or 7th layer. Then only the money is siphoned off. So we'll capture the 6th and 7th layer and we'll try to make it a suspect repository. We are in the process. I think it will soon, maybe 6-7 months or so, we'll try to have in the phase manner these kind of repositories available for the citizens.
So that would be extremely helpful.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Any other question? That's it? Okay. All right. Thank you very much, sir, for this highly informative and insightful presentation. And sir, just one more question if I want to ask, because we have the virtual audience also. So it's a very basic question. So you have been talking about the cybersecurity, everything. So just basic, 3 points for the cyber hygiene that we all should keep. And I am sure we all are from the industry, but people like me and the virtual audience, who are the students and everybody, what we all should keep in mind to save ourselves from the frauds.
Do not share OTP, we keep on saying. Banks do not ask for KYC at all. And for QR code, if I receive the QR code, if I click it, my money will go, the money will not come if I click the QR code. So some of the cyber tips we keep on propagating. So thank you very much, especially to NPCI and other organizers and all the delegates present here for inviting us. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shri Deepak Virmani ji.